Good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe! Hello and welcome today. Welcome to my New Year's stream. Welcome. Um, Welcome into 2021. So usually, I have a stream prior to New Year's. I think I had a 1 year where I kind of streamed into the new year, kind of a thing where I did do my stream and then, at the last kind of minute of that stream it was, Happy New Year's. It was 2021 or 2019 or something like that. It was 1 year where I did that. This year I have set up a painting. I did a New Year's painting. I did it a couple of days ago, Tuesday or Wednesday, so 3-4 days ago. And then I did it in 90 minutes, so I did a 90-minute challenge with it. 90-minute art challenge with this drawing that I've done. This New Year's themed painting. I did a Palmerston North New Year's painting. So yeah, I'm from Palmerston North here in New Zealand. So I did something more along that theme, going for the square. I found this image is quite challenging to find an image to paint for New Year's. I didn't know what I was doing at first. But yeah, I didn't really know what I was going to do for this year because this year I've been really focused on my book and just been painting that really. I haven't had any or really many other projects at all. Apart from some times of me drawing some other drawing streams, Inktober, and other little streams here and there, but I haven't really had many other things that I've been painting. It's mainly this year I've been working on my book. I don't think I've had any kind of side projects this year. It's all been, yeah, my book. I've had other little things like weekly tips I've been doing, and my 4 drawings a week that I've been doing, and all that sort of thing. Now, it's interesting because, 2020, I looked into that video and I'm like, really? This is the video I created? I'm like, oh, really? I think I've improved quite a bit in what I've been creating here on YouTube, in my art as well, the improvement of it with last year, kind of 2019, well, the year before that, but because it's 21 at the moment, looking back at 2019. In 219, I was 219 slash turning into 2020, my 2020 resolution stream. I was kind of talking about how I was kind of finished my book, well, halfway finished, and working on the next 7 pages, and that would be it. But going into the year, last year, the 2020, going into it, a few months down the track, and I was really needing to paint over all the pages again. I thought they would be, a few hours each or an hour for each page, and that would be done. Like I could merge them all together. I could do like an hour or two painting each page and kind of merge them into a couple of videos or something. But it ended up being, a couple of hours, 3 or 4 hours for each page, or more, a couple of weeks work, really, because, with that, there's all the little things I've got to deal with. In the background, you're looking at probably 9 hours-ish for each page. Little other things I've got to deal with the background for the week, and things like that. So a little bit more than I thought in the end. And that's always a learning curve with these big projects that you make or get or create. you always for me, I've always kind of underestimated them. Sometimes you do overestimate them as well. Or sometimes like individual paintings you overestimate them. And that's kind of a good thing for me doing these 90-minute art challenges. Um, because you can see what you can do within 90 minutes, what you can create within an hour and a half, what you can get done, which is really cool. This is my kind of third 90-minute challenge, and it's been really interesting that what I've created, within this painting, I think I was about 45 minutes in or something like that, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of there, I'm pretty happy with what I'm created now. I can just add and it just, fix up and make it even better, from there. I was pretty happy within about 45 minutes, maybe an hour-ish worth of work. I was pretty happy at that stage. I was like, well, now I just have to fix up little parts here and there. And I got with the second one of the 9-minute art challenge I did. I was at that stage where, the first hour, I was quite happy with what I created. That was just, yeah, fixing up and um, editing and making things look better and adding what I needed to and changing things or whatever I was doing with the painting, which is good to see. So, you know, I did talk a little bit about ambitions. Now, I didn't watch, I don't remember the whole, my goals from last year and everything like that. Going, I think, to 219, I wanted to create double, the work, more work, twice the amount of videos, and, twice the amount of paintings. And then, looking in 2020, ambitions, the ambitions for 2020, was pretty much I said that I was not going to focus on, creating twice as much, but rather, keep up with all the videos I am creating, keeping up with those, keeping up with like weekly tips, focusing on a little bit of learning if I can, drawing from references and all those things, which I kind of did, and yeah, I was focused a little further, decided to do quality over quantity kind of a thing, and then also I had another ambition of keeping this kind of journal, the Tree Top Journal, I think it's called. And yeah, so go over each of those. I'll start with, 2020 as a whole. 2020 has been an interesting year, I think, for all of us. Um, as a whole year, we've had big things come up. You know, I think it's different from, a lot of other years per se. We've had a pandemic, that has affected, the whole world, um, where that doesn't always happen every year. We don't have quite big world, I'd say, events, years. I mean, there are things that, affect the world and some countries, and we've had some other big things, big events like 9/11 and those kind of things. But I mean, really this year, it's been there, this big, uh, that big pandemic where we're all in the same boat. Obviously, different countries doing different things about it. Um, I'm in New Zealand here, and we've been really good here in New Zealand for it. Um, we are kind of. I'd say, in a general population, we are kind of COVID free. We have COVID in our country. It is here, but it is, not spreading too much, and it's kind of controlled as far as I know. I don't watch the news all the time and that kind of thing. Um, Other thing that I've seen as well this year is the whole, um, kind of the Black Lives Matters thing, riots and stuff um, going overseas with the police using, brutal force and things like that. I mean, I don't keep up with the lot of the news. Um, but I feel like, everyone's lives matters out there. No one should be hurt or abused, um, wrongfully, hurt wrongfully. Um, you know, some of these police officers seem to do the wrong thing sometimes, and it's I don't want to say too much about it. But anyway, that's been 2020, I'd say. Um, yeah, so anywho, back to the art story. So it's been an interesting year for not just me, but all of us as artists, creators, as just general people. Um, but yeah, we go back to my 2020 ambitions. So, just keeping up with the videos, I definitely, did that. I kept up with all my week's videos, I kept up with my weekly tips, and I think I've gotten better at them both, with these videos that I create. Um, I definitely I feel like the quality, the bar of the video quality has gone up. Um, you know, I I think I have kind of changed my format, I'd say a little bit. It's still the same kind of format. It's still um I have my painting, I talk over my painting, I have guest artists in, I have weekly tips where I shared, tips. It's still that kind of thing, but I have kind of, I have more in-depth kind of conversations now. I present my conversations way better than I used to. A lot of stuff that's going on. My weekly tips is improving. I'm going through interesting new stuff, and I think I started off just doing like quick and easy tips that I could be like 5 minutes, and now I take a little time. I do a little painting, a little bit of drawing of something, and I talk about it afterwards. It takes a little bit more time, about 45 minutes to create a weekly tips. A little bit more sometimes, depending on how everything goes, how the painting goes, how the drawing goes, how the recording goes. Sometimes I stuff up the recording quite a few times. Sometimes I have it good in like one go. So with those, they are challenging. With the weekly videos, keeping up with my drawings is always a challenge. Um, but from week to week there are things that go on. I try my best to make the most of the time that I do have to paint. I keep creating as much as I can. There are times where I am gaming and just relaxing or watching things, or doing other stuff rather than gaming, and family time and all those things. Um, but yeah, trying to make sure that time I do have that I can paint, I'm making the most of it. That is good. Um, and if this year I have had the chance to have a few days at home where I am just painting. And this year, 2021, I will be having a few days here and there where I will be painting um for 6 or something hours straight, somewhat, lunch and everything, but a couple of days here and there where I am pretty much working on my painting. A rare opportunity when I do get that. Usually I have to do an hour and a half a night and probably 6 hours on the weekend if I'm lucky. It depends because with the weekend I've got things going on. I do have my weekly tips to do, and I've also got these streams to do as well, and it takes 45 minutes to do a stream, as well as the post editing and all that stuff. So give and take, sometimes I only get like 3 or 4 hours on the weekend. Sometimes I get like 6 hours. It all depends. Um, but yeah, not often I do get there. I do get there time sometimes. In some weeks, take some time off and do a few days here and there of just painting, which is really good to have. I've had this year a few times. Um, with pandemic, I still had to work through it, so I didn't make too many changes. I still had to go to work, kind of full-time hours. I had a few days off here and there, but other than that, I had to kind of fully work. So I didn't get all that painting done that I wanted. Anywho, um, yeah, so that's kind of the first ambition. I talked about that. The second ambition, improving my quality. I think that is definitely, improved quality of my work, quality of my videos, quality, of everything. The bar is raising, and I hope to keep raising that bar. I don't think I want to reach that bar, I want to keep raising it and keep getting better. Um, I think, I'm slowly hitting the state where um I'm kind of getting a little bit happy with the bar, but now even looking at this, I'm like, I want to race the bar again. So, um it's great to have achievements and be like, yeah, I'm happy with this work, I'm happy with this piece. Um but it's you need to kind of keep moving forward. Just I need to kind of keep moving forward so I can get myself better and keep improving my art. Um, as well, my portfolio, I'm definitely, slowly kind of improving it as I go. I'm trying to change things up and add illustrations in there and things like that. The next thing was my book, my Treehouse journal. I got given that for 2020. Now, January, February, I was really into it. I was kind of, doing each week, each day, and jotting down notes each day and things like that. Painting times, and I kind of talked about it in quite a few of my videos, and I used it for quite a long time. I'd say um, June, July. I actually think um, yeah, June, July. I'd say about then I kept using it, and then after kind of July, August-ish, I started slowly using it maybe once a week, and it's slowly dying down. Then it was starting to I was starting to get a little bit more busier, I guess in that moment of keeping up with videos, doing the after a little bit October came, doing the Inktober and all those things that keeping up with the journal was getting a little bit more challenging, and it was like one day I put it to one side, the next day I kind of forgot about it, and then I just, slowly forgot about it and never went back to it. It's kind of like going to the gym, kind of a thing. I went to the gym once, and, then but I skipped a day sometime, and then I was just like, now I do another day, and then you keep doing that, and then you forget about the gym. It was that kind of a thing. Now, it was really helpful for me to do in that period, and it was a great practice to have, and it really helped me to keep motivated, to keep going, um, to jot down, ideas of what I want to do. So if I wanted to paint that night, I would, jot down ideas. So paint, say Monday night, sort out weekly tips the next night, upload in the morning, really jotted down the things that I had to do each week, the goals, ambitions I wanted to do each week, and keep it going. I think what kind of happened is I was, jotting down all those ideas, and then I went with the ideas and um, kind of said yes and no to the ones that did work, ones that didn't work, um, and by June, July, August, somewhere around then, when I stopped using it, I had already kind of used everything, and I had a routine that was working quite well, and that's why I kept going. So excuse for not using it anymore. Um, it's a great tool, and I can always go and get another journal of some sort. I'm considering now getting a um, just a book where I can kind of write kind of artists that I'm going to chat to, or yeah, artists that I've chatted to and their contact details and things like that. Um, yeah, because I talk to so many now, and keeping up with them, and then which ones I've contacted, and um, blah blah blah, is very challenging. Um, like a phone book of um, you know, people you've talked to, as you keep that. It's something like that. I've chatted to, and it's been cool this year. I've talked to some really cool artists this year. Um, I'm not looking at stats this year. I did for, I think, 218, and I did like 219. I think I kind of did for 220. I looked into it, but I didn't too care about it too much. So I'm not bothering this year because I know, I've got most of my paintings are from the book, so um, I don't really want to count those. This I don't know where I started, and I don't know what pages. I don't know how to count those, so I'm not going to, do any stats of how many paintings I painted this year, or how many videos I've done this year, or anything like that. You know, I saw one that they do an ArtStation, and it highlights how many posts you've done this year and everything like that. It's funny because I've only done 2 posts this year on ArtStation, and how many comments and likes and how many views, everything like that's on there. I was like, oh, really? I only did 2 posts this year on that. I was like, okay, it's not my kind of social media this year. It was probably a year ago when I had more kind of movement in my art. I had a piece every couple of weeks or something that I was putting on different social medias and that kind of thing. But now I've only got kind of my books, so I don't want to kind of release too much of that stuff. But yeah, this was fun though, just doing like 90-minute challenges. Yeah, that was quite cool doing there, and I do enjoy it. So I definitely have a few ideas for that. I think going into 2021, this year, I will definitely be doing a few 90-minute challenges here and there. Um, as like side stream things. So instead of a one where I just draw animals, because there are some streams this year, or well, in 2020, that I did that. I just drawed animals and talked about that. This year, instead of that, I might do a few of these 90-minute challenges here and there. I might grab one of, Bobby Chill's ones that he's got 90-minute challenges, do one of his possibly at some point this year. I want to do one guy, if I would want to butcher his name, Efremendo. He does these really cool, colorful paintings. And he passed away in the end of 2019. About August. He is an amazing painter. I saw his lives on like Facebook. I just found out. I was like, oh, really? Um, you know, that's why I haven't seen a lot of his like posts and stuff and things like that. But he does this really cool, magnificent art pieces, um, colorful, like, I think they are oil paints and very colorful scenes. He's got like Paris scene where it's all like different. It's really awesome. So I'd like to do that because it's really colorful. It's got like swatches everywhere. The colors are like slowly kind of changing and chopping, and really playing with each other. So I think it'd be really interesting to just try and attempt one of his paintings. Additionally, it's going to be interesting as well, but just attempt one of his paintings and see, what I can do within an hour and a half. Yeah, Happy New Year's to you, everyone who's joined me, to 2021. It is 2021 here, and indeed here it's 2021. But yeah, that would be an awesome painting to do, I think. It's really colourful work that he has. As well, yeah, it's like saying a 90-minute challenge from Bobby Chill himself. 'Cause I don't know if he's full creator of it, but he definitely has some pretty cool challenges that I like to do. I'll grab one of his 90-minute challenges and do one of those at some point this year instead of those art drawing streams. I might do one or two of those art streams this year. What I've had a sketchbook tour this year where I went through a couple of my sketchbook drawings and just talked about kind of my challenges in my sketchbook and um, the fun in that. And I did that for I think I did it since last year, so since 2019 November, I did the challenge where I drew 4 drawings a week, and then I posted them on Instagram, and then I did a YouTube video every month, and I did that for 6 months, I think, which was quite interesting. Each month, I went over the I think it's 16 drawings usually there was. Um, but it depends because each month is different. Um, yeah, sometimes a week finishes on a Tuesday, then you've got 2 drawings for the next month. In that, things like that will go on. So there's usually somewhere between 16, 4, 8, 12, 16. Somewhere between, say, or 14, 14 at least, I think it was. 14, 16, 4, 16, maybe 14, 14 at least, I think it is. Those 2 days where it changes. 14 to about nearly 20 in a month. So it depends, but It was that in between that range of 14 to 20 drawings in a month. That I would chat about and things like that. And yeah, I did that for 6 months. And I'm still doing it to this day where I don't create the videos, but I do the 4 drawings each week. And it's been great practice to have because why not? It's really easy to keep up with. It's just me drawing something for 4 days, and it keeps me kind of knowing and having something to draw every day. It is, it was challenging before that to just draw it, to be like, well, I don't know what to draw, and then I would, flick through magazines, or I would have an idea possibly of what to draw that day, or, you know, I would just kind of draw and make ideas and things. I didn't have any kind of focus. I might get out a book. I might, do something, have a certain topic I was drawing, but I had no kind of focus. So bringing that into 2020 was really awesome, and I'm going to keep it up this year where, I do those 4 drawings a week. It makes it really good to keep improving, keep drawing. Now, there's a few things I want to do this year. Like I've mentioned before in some of my streams, where I want to do a couple of landscapes in those drawings. So, I might do that. Yeah, I'm definitely doing that this year at some point. Like I say, I've just got to do some landscape, get some landscape images and things like that. So I'd say I'll deal with that. Maybe some of this week, I'm not too sure, but I'll do it for some of the days anyway at some point. It also lets me tackle things that I wouldn't normally tackle. Like the other day I did comment on one of my videos. It was asking if you know beetle horns were antlers. And eventually came up with the idea from there, if beetles had antlers, what they look like. So I ended up drawing there. I was like, now I'm drawing this idea. Um, yeah, so I did that. I tackle things that I don't normally get to tackle, because I'm kind of way too busy painting and stuff like that when I get home. So that hour that I just am doodling, I can have fun tackling those little ideas. They're only small kind of thumbnail things and a little bit of fun and stuff like that, but I still get to have a little fun doing those things. And there's no stopping me from one day taking those drawings that I've done in my sketchbook, flicking through my many sketchbooks that I have, and taking one of the ideas that I've got in and drawing that. Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't talked anything about my process for this painting. With this process, it's kind of pretty straightforward. I paint it. I have done a few overlays. I use text layer to paint under the text so I could make the type, you know, kind of quickly. So it's kind of a cheat that I stopped, made the text using the text thingy, and then painted under it. Um, and also the overlay layer, I did pause it, and I made sure the overlay layer was set, and then I painted it. So those little things that um, kind of save me time, I guess. In the 90 minutes. But it might have, if I just did those little shortcuts to help me, in a way, because I only had like 90 minutes to do this. In a way, the overlay layer was kind of a good thing, because it helped me quickly achieve kind of what I wanted with it, and then I could paint over top of it. but you know, I could have actually, done it without the overlay layer. It's just I didn't want to run out of time. So, but there's nothing wrong with using it though. Using overlay layers and all those things. They're helpful there to use. But yeah, I usually, use it, but I'll paint over it and kind of, yeah, just incorporate it a little bit more into my painting so it doesn't look so bad, or something like that. Anyway, yeah. But that's the kind of process for this um challenge. It was challenging, and trying to get all those fireworks looking like fireworks was really challenging. I added colors as well because I wanted to be more colorful with the fireworks. I still feel like the fireworks maybe needed a little bit more brightening, I guess, but more dotty watties on them and things like that. Um, but yeah, within an hour and a half, I wasn't 100% sure how to achieve this. So, it becomes. And this has been sped up twice, so it's twice as fast. Um, yeah, awesome. So now we're in 2021. Um, yeah, so, I want to keep creating these videos, these weekly streams that I create, these weekly tips. Lately, I've been getting some awesome following, comments, uh, you know, a small Patreon supporter at the moment, which is I'll be sharing with you guys at some point. Um, I have to get his full details and everything like that, but yeah, it's awesome to have a little bit of Patreon support, which is awesome. I do have Patreon if you guys are interested. Um, yeah, which is awesome, and I do have artists coming in this year in a couple of weeks or whatever. I'm not too sure yet. And hopefully I have some awesome artists that do come in this year. I'm gonna reach out to a few more and maybe re-reach out to some of the ones I have talking to and made friends with and see what they're up to again and see if they're interested in um, you know talking about what the ambitions are this year and things like that maybe and all those things. It'd be cool to do that as well as with the topics. I've always feel like I've ran out of topics to talk about, but then I go to create the video, I come up with the topic, and it's like, oh, I've got so many topics now. Um, it is challenging to keep coming up with new topics all the time, but um, there is something different I can say, or a different way I could say it, or something maybe I've picked up in the last week, or something that's on my mind I haven't kind of touched, or something I've kind of touched upon but not in that way. Um, so there's always something new that I'm adding, to this, to kind of a visual whole library where, all these artists coming in can get all these helpful tips and things. Yeah. And as well as weekly tips, with weekly tips, I've dealt with so many animals, and I've done frog feet, so I'm looking at doing more parts of the frog animal, and I've dealt with antlers, so same with that. I want to delve into deers, and I still have the antlers there, but now that you know how to draw antlers, you can fully draw deer properly. Those kind of things I'll tackle with too. Ambitions, as well for this year. I definitely want to finish this book this year. It has been very challenging, um, and it's really thrown a ball at me, throwing things at me. It's been an awesome project, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I know it's taking a while, but it's worth it. I'm getting the paintings way better. The book's, hopefully going to be fantastic when it's finished. Um, I think I need to put more time in, and try and find a way to make sure that I keep pushing forward. It's always a challenging thing. I think, I've done some of these hour and a half challenges in the last 2 weeks. And it's proven that I can paint for an hour and a half each kind of night. So I want to make sure I paint for at least an hour and a half each night. It is very challenging, because you don't get to do a lot of other stuff. It's pretty much just painting, and that's about it for the night. There might be a few things you can do before, a few things you can do after, but that's about it. It's painting, and then that's it. So I want to make sure I try to do my hour and a half. That will keep things going and make sure that I do get my videos pretty much done and I don't fall too much behind. I think that's a vital important thing to keep up. Yeah, that's number one thing. Number two is keep raising the bar, keep creating good videos, good illustrations, keep improving. I want to watch, obviously I keep saying this, but watching more schoolism and things like that. I've got a little bit more of an active plan. I'm going to watch some more videos at work, so for the next week or so, week or two, I'll be doing, drawings out of my head kind of a thing, not drawing from reference, and watching the some of the schoolism videos and things like that. So I can watch a bit more other schoolism stuff, like my classes that I learn things through, which has been great. I finished this year. I finished Daniel Arriaga's class, and now I'm kind of going through Craig Mullen's class and learning a bit about digital painting and that whole aspect of things. I made it, I think, halfway through his course. Um, and yeah, it's been pretty good to get him going through coloring it and kind of using what he says, and you put them in these illustrations, some of the things he talks about. The same went for Daniel Arriaga's class. That was really helpful with some of the characters that I was doing and dealing with those. I did a few of his exercises, but mainly I kind of made the exercises into these some of these paintings that I did throughout the year. Um, yeah, that's what I kind of did. Which I am kind of practicing what they are saying and learning it. And every now and again, I might do one of the exercises. Might even do 90-minute art challenge for one of the exercises or something. For those schoolism classes, I don't know. But I think doing a little bit of variety does help. You know, because I've just been doing, or I will be just doing kind of my book and getting that done. Um, I don't have a lot of other content, so doing these other little different things on the side does help, and it does You know, one, it gives you guys some variety of things I'm creating, um, but it also for myself gives me a little bit of variety as well. Not just creating the same thing. I like doing little side projects. It's great to do. Yeah. As well as weekly tips, it's great to do because I get to do little side drawings, and I get to learn about different animals each week. You know, um, I didn't know about antlers, that, you know, antlers are actually an extinction of scale, you know, extinction of a scale, and they're shed, you know, once a year. I didn't know all these things. You know, difference between horn and antlers and these kind of things. I learn these each week. Or like frog feet. I didn't know that they have. I think it was that they had three toes at the front and four at the back. You know, all these little things that you pick up from doing these weekly tips. That it's really cool to learn little things each week. I'm teaching you as well as learning myself, kind of a thing, which is really awesome. So yeah, that's been my New Year's 21 stream. Happy New Year's, everyone. Happy New Year's to all. Whether, you know, you're from New Zealand, you are in the year 21, or you still are coming into 21. You've probably made it to 21 by now. There's still, at the time we're talking now, um, there's still a few people ready to make it to 21. But probably the time it's uploaded and everything like that, onto YouTube, people already seen into 21. So, you know, thanks for joining me for this stream. Um, Thanks everyone for being a part of my YouTube channel, being a part of my art and me creating stuff. I really do appreciate all the support. You know, this has been an interesting 90-minute challenge, the first kind of 90-minute challenge. New Year stream to do, and it was fun. It was different to any other year at this stage, and you know, I may keep it for next year where I do another kind of 90-minute New Year's art stream. Yeah. So thanks for joining me. Keep creating. Hopefully you create so much more this year, or you get so much better. Feel free to make yourself a few goals. Not too many, just a few goals and high hopes and things like that. And, you know, make the most out of your time. Keep creating. Keep drawing, everyone. And see you in the next video. Goodbye.